Welcome to Live, Let Thrive, a podcast about the Airbnb life, the share economy, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Myka and Steve.
Hello, hello, hello.
And welcome back to another exciting episode
Of Live
Let
Thrive. What's up, Myka man?
I'm chilling, Stevie Stacks. First episode of 2021. How you doing?
2021. I need to stop writing my checks as 2020 now. Doing all right.
21.
Doing all right, man. It's gonna be a better year, I hope.
Oh yes, sir. It's got to be.
It's got to be. Yeah, I can't. Well, I'm not gonna say that sentence. It can't get any. Yeah, I'm happy to be back. Happy to be back on the podcast, and this is episode 147 of your favorite Airbnb, VRBO, Homeaway, turo, Lyft, all that stuff, share economy podcast in the world, and we are on Clubhouse as well currently.
Yes, sir.
So we're we're multitasking, and we got a special guest today.
There you go. Who do we have on, Steve?
Miss Kenya Teague is joining us today. Give it up for Kenya.
What up, Kenya?
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. By the way, we got Kenya. I met Kenya through Clubhouse. Very good app. And not only did we meet her through Clubhouse, she offers a lot of game gems to the short-term rental community. So we had to have her on, and it is great for her to be here. So I guess I'm going to start it off. Kenya, when did you start your short-term rental journey, and how did you get started?
Can I do her bio real quick?
Oh, go ahead. Do the bio.
Yeah. I was going to do her bio. Let me see. Here we go. Let me clear my throat. Kenya is a short-term rental coach and real estate investor. She's been in the short-term rental space for 3 years now and used her personal home as her gateway into the short-term rental space. She's passionate about interior design, creating an awesome guest experience, and utilizing unique spaces as short-term rentals. Hello, Kenya.
Hey,
How you doing?
good. Thanks for having me.
So you're currently in an Airbnb, huh?
I am, funny enough. Yes, I am right now, live in person.
Nice. Where are you located?
Me and the family did a staycation here in Atlanta, not far from where I live in the Vinings. And so, yeah, just trying to have fun for New Year's Eve and, get away a little bit.
Oh, nice. Cool. That sounds cool. Go back to Myka's question. How did you get started in the short-term rental business?
All right. Well, you covered a tad bit in my bio, but as a short-term rental person who actually runs short-term rentals, I got started by using my primary residence as a short-term rental. But prior to that, I got started in the game per se through a lot of education, a lot of talking to people, networking with local investors. It's all started kind of when I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina. Right now I live in Atlanta. But yeah, it started back then. And I'm not gonna lie, I had analysis paralysis in the beginning. So I hear a lot of y'all talking about that on Clubhouse and other spaces. And I'm a true testament of that. It's real. I think it took me a good 2 years before I actually made the leap. I was the overeducated person who hadn't done anything before I actually got into it.
Yeah. So how did you end up breaking through that analysis paralysis?
I just know I just had to do something. I couldn't just be the person that had all the information that, everybody was utilizing me and everything I knew because I, studied a lot, networked and read a bunch of books. And they were just like, well, how do I do this? How do I do that? What's your idea around this? I realized, I'm giving it away for free. And these people are going out there like, oh, I got 5 properties now. I got 10. How many you got? I'm like, I still haven't done it. And they're like, why not? You gave me everything I need. And now I'm making XYZ money. And I'm like, man, I gotta do something. So, I decided, gotta make it happen.
Okay, so currently, where are your properties located, and how many do you have right now? And do you? Yeah, I'm gonna start off with that. Where are your properties located, and how many do you have right now?
Right now in Charlotte, North Carolina, I got 4 listed.
Okay, and do you own or arbitrage?
Own.
Own. Okay. So with the owning side, how did you how did you acquire them? Did you do traditional? Did you do like a BRRRR, buy it, rehab, fix it up? How did you acquire them?
The first one was through traditional, and then the other ones were for the BRRRR method. As far as doing the creative financing, that's something that I want to get into and something I start doing more. But that's not something I've once again taken the leap and done. as far as making it happen.
Okay, and the BRRRR method, because like, let's say someone new's listening. Can you explain that to them? Like what that means, how you did it?
Okay, it's buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. I think that's all the R's.
Yes. So someone new and looking to get started, can you explain like the process of what you went through to get those and then how that's helped you?
Well, okay, for the very first one, let me say for the very first one, I went through, I guess I would call it a traditional, process of buying a home. I don't think I did anything different when I bought the first property. Although I did, when I went out looking, I wasn't looking at, although I knew I was going to be an owner occupant, I wasn't looking with owner occupant eyes, if that makes any sense. I had investor eyes when I went looking. I think I started house hunting in February. I didn't make a purchase until November. Like, so it took that long. Like, if that makes any sense. And when I went out, I knew I had to run my numbers. I knew I wasn't just jumping up anytime I saw anything hit the market. I knew for sure I didn't want turnkey. I knew for sure that I wanted some type of ability to use it as a short-term rental. So I knew that. So whether it was going to have an ADU attached to the house, whether it was going to have a basement, in-law suite, something, I ended up liking split level homes as well. I wanted initially to get a multifamily property, but the market was brutal and trying to win, bids against cash buyers in Charlotte. I just, hands down, I wasn't even in the game. So I wasn't qualified to even play that game. So I gave up. But initially, that's what I started out doing. It just wasn't working for me. So I was like, you know what? Got to get a single family home and make it happen.
Well, that's. Sorry, I'm learning this Clubhouse as we go. So I'm learning to hit the mute button, unmute button. We got this. We'll do this. Anyways, so yeah, that's cool how you hopped into the BRRRR, and you must have been a BiggerPockets fan for that to learn that one.
Yes, BiggerPockets is where it was at. I mean, prior to something like this, like Clubhouse coming along, that's why I think this is awesome, because I feel like this is more attainable as far as the people I'm talking to. I feel like it's a little bit more real. But yes, BiggerPockets, I'm a big fan of BiggerPockets in that community. Yeah, I got hopped on there. I started initially by just listening to their podcast and then read a few books, read a lot more books, and got on there and eventually created a profile on there, started talking to people, going to like local RIA meetings, that kind of thing, and then meeting more people who was interested in a specific niche I wanted to be, which was short-term rentals, and then kind of going from there.
Okay, I'll go ahead, Steve.
Oh yeah, so what was your career before you started into the real estate and short-term rentals?
It's still my career. I still have a 9-to-5. So I actually am turned a UX designer. I work in the IT field, and it's a user experience designer is what it stands for. And pretty much in short, in layman's terms, I take apps, mobile apps and websites, and I create pretty much a good user experience, which means people should be able to go on there, have a goal when they go on mine, find what they need, be able to find the contact they need, exit, and enjoy the time that they had on it. I care about drop rates and things of that nature. So I'm a techie.
Oh,
okay,
nice.
So with you being a techie, I know you have your own, you have your 4 rentals. What systems do you use to automate those four rentals you have?
Yeah, I run everything off of my phone, honestly. I don't do I've heard some people use computer software and things of that nature. The only thing that technically I use is, it's not a software, but I use Wheelhouse for pricing.
Mm-hmm.
But I use Turnover B&B for my cleaning, and I handle other things via spreadsheets, and then I use HoneyBook also. I don't think I've ever heard anybody mention that, but I use HoneyBook.
What is HoneyBook?
It takes care of a lot of automated applications and documents for me. And what I'm going to start being able to use is keep on email lists and things of that nature. It's similar to, just like a bookkeeping type of thing.
I have never heard of that one. That is definitely on my to-do list to look at, HoneyBook. Okay. And so with your system pretty much being automated, how many hours a week do you work on your business?
4 at the max.
4-hour work week. I love it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I used to be in this all day, like nonstop, especially my pricing strategy. Oh my God. I used to be on it every day trying to fluctuate, change stuff. I realized I had to stop.
How has Wheelhouse worked for you? Because I've never used it. I've only used Pricelabs and my own pricing strategy. How's that worked out for you?
I've never used Pricelabs, so I can't compare it to that. I recently heard you guys talking about that on Clubhouse, but for me, I like Wheelhouse. I like the visual, the UI of it, and it's pretty easy to use. I've been using it for about 2 years now, so they've made the necessary updates for me to make it a good experience of me using the application. So I'm able to go in there. I can see all of my listings that I have connected in there. So I'm sure that's similar to what Pricelabs does. And it allows me to go in there, set for my high and low seasons, and I can make particular, information as far as that goes. And I can go in there, set my base price. I can say on the weekends, I want this certain price to happen and it to never go below this certain price. So I'm able to do all my analytical data there and keep all my information as far as discounts. You name it, it has it like that.
So how the heck did you were able to automate everything where you could only have to work 4 hours a week? That's the goal of a lot of entrepreneurs, because everybody reads that book, the 4-hour work week. But how did you attain that?
I was slightly forced into it. Some of you guys may be able to relate, sometimes of just too many times sitting at the dinner table with the phone and laying in the bed with the phone, and then somebody nudges you laying next to you and like, you need to get off that thing. So I was slightly forced into it by my significant other. That's the honest truth. And I was like, man, I got to figure out a way to do this. Plus I'm balancing my 9 to 5 too. And then I got little ones. So, I had to make something happen. I was spending too much time catered to that business. And I'm not gonna lie, it was somewhat taken away from my 9 to 5 as well, especially when I first started out. Oh my God. Even with the cleaning. So I was forced little by little to make it happen.
So little by little, could you walk us through like some of the smaller steps or some of the bigger steps you did to be able to reach just the 4-hour work week? I mean, what were you able to like offload tasks to other people or utilize a team? Or could you explain how you did that?
Yeah, no, I'm not like some of the gurus on Clubhouse. I don't have a team. I wish I did. I mean, hopefully, to get to that point, but I don't feel like that's necessary for me, honestly, right now where I am. But the first thing I automated or I had to outsource and give up myself was the cleaning. When I got that first property, maybe it was like, I want to say maybe 5-6 months in, it just was too much because I didn't have a mentor. Let me say that up front. So I didn't have a mentor when it came to this. I'm going off of just what I read and just learning. I'm not gonna lie, hands-on learning once I got into it. So a mentor would have been tremendous for me in the beginning when I did this. All the knowledge that you guys hear me talking about in Clubhouse and do this and don't do that, it came from real live mistakes. So when it came to it, I was like, oh, I'm not sourcing out the cleaning. That's $70 I can keep in my pocket. I'm just going to charge the guest $70 and I'll do it myself. That's no problem. Yeah, right. With the 1-year-old running behind me and the dog running behind me and, still trying to work my 9 to 5, trying to make that happen. Running around trying to clean up between guests, leaving the office on my lunch break to go run home and clean it up and things of that nature. It wasn't flying. So I realized I gotta do something. And so it started by me utilizing TaskRabbit of all things. And I was like, one day I just couldn't make it. And I was like trying to find somebody to make the cleaning for me. And I did that. I found a lady then. She did a good job. And I was like, you know what? She might be the one. And before I could even ask her, does she do this off the app? Because I know you're not supposed to ask. She actually flipped me the business card. And I was like, perfect. That's exactly what I needed. And I asked her, could she give me a lower rate since she do it off platform? She said yes. And I was like, we're in business.
I love that TaskRabbit you just used. I'm still trying to figure out how to utilize it, but it's definitely like little small tasks. TaskRabbit is the truth. Definitely check out TaskRabbit if you haven't already.
Right.
So I guess my next question is like, do you plan on expanding in 2021? I know some people are kind of being fearful, and they're like, I'm not gonna do it. How about you? Do you plan on expanding, or are you just gonna kind of keep what you got?
No, I really want to. I really want to. But my problem right now is, I'm stuck between wanting to buy some land and create a nice experience. Like as far as the setup of like a nice short-term rental experience on some land, I've got an idea for that versus buying another house. So I'm kind of caught between which one should I really try to execute right now. So that's where I am. But yes, would I like to expand? Yes, that's my goal in 2021. I feel like 2020, I sat down and, just made sure I could manage what I had, especially a lot of people was panicking, when it came to the market. I didn't have an issue when COVID hit. Thank God about that. But yeah, 2021, I'm trying to make that happen.
All right, let's dive into your coaching. So you're a short-term rental coach?
Right.
Or are you short-term rental in real estate or just short-term rental?
Just short-term rental, just what I know, what I specialize in.
And so what made you want to be a coach?
Once again, kind of, getting that nudge from my friends and my counterparts, just because they were like, you just tell anybody anything they want to know. They ask you questions, they pick your brain, and you just giving up the game for free. And they were like, yo, you can monetize that. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be like those guru people, like, buy my course, it's $1,000. And I was like, no. And I was like, plus that means I got to get on social media every day. I got to be annoying. I was like, no, I can't do that. And then after talking to a couple people that are like branding people and stuff like that, when I realized I didn't have to be cheesy about it and like, get on there like those guru people and mention 50 times how much money I want from you in one session, I could just be my authentic self. I kind of warmed up to it. I'm not gonna lie. And then being on Clubhouse has made me more comfortable talking and speaking. I'm an introvert, to tell you the truth. I'm a behind the wall, behind the desk type of person. So, but I've just gotten more comfortable with it, to be honest, as far as that goes. So initially it was the people around me that coached me and boost me up to do it.
Awesome. Well, I just want to take a second to reset the room on Clubhouse. I just want to let all of our listeners know, if you stick around, we're going to give you guys an opportunity to ask Kenya and our host any questions you may have about the topics we're talking about. Kenya, it sounds like a lot of your circle of influence helped you really like make those steps. How important would you say like your circle of influence is when it comes to your business? And what
Yeah, definitely. It takes me back to something my mother said to me growing up, which I hated, and she kept saying, "Birds of a feather flock together." I mean, even the Clubhouse, that the algorithm that app runs off of, it's all about your inner circle. If you don't like what you see on Clubhouse in the hallway, you got to change the people you hang around, people you follow per se. I mean, that's really what you're doing on there. You got to elevate your circle, man. It's all about who you hang around. You don't want to be the smartest person in the room. And I know that sounds cliche. We hear that before, but I found in my adult life, and like I say, I hate saying my mama was right, but she was right. It really is true. You got to elevate yourself. So I think it's very helpful, the people you hang around. I definitely want people who are much richer than me, much smarter than me. So they help me to give me ideas. And then they make me feel validated when I think my ideas are stupid. They're like, yo, that's genius. And they're like, you gonna execute that? And I'm like, oh, no, not right now. They're like, well, I'm about to. And I'm like, well, hold up now. So yeah, it happens.
I'm happy you said that about Clubhouse. Like Clubhouse, that was something I touched on today. I said, if you walk in Clubhouse and find no value, it's because of the circle of people that's around you. So you need to analyze that. I'm happy you brought that up. So definitely birds of a feather do flock together. Definitely. So in 2021, if you start not finding no value on Clubhouse, change your circle of friends. That's all it means.
True. So true.
I have another question for you.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Stephen, cut you off. I know you had said that, initially your plan was to get multi-family, and then you rerouted your plan. How would you say it was for you emotionally, mentally, and how did you really come to the decision, okay, besides the money, okay, I can't afford this? And how did you kind of process out rerouting your entire plan?
I'm somewhat of a stubborn person. So, when I get gung ho about something, I'm all in 100%. So it took a minute for me to walk away from that. And honestly, it was my real estate agent who talked to me and said, you're going to be beat out every time. And I was like, nah, man, I got to find a deal that really I got to be able to, it's going to be able to work for me. And he was like, no, you're really not. Cause they got cash buyers. And, he was, telling me all of these reasons. And I was just like, nah, man, you don't know what you're talking about. So it was after just bumping my head up on the wall too many times. And then also he started to tell me, because he was actually a real estate investor. He had short-term rentals in the area. He started to tell me, think outside the box. You just keep thinking about multifamilies and going in there and rent one unit and live in the other. He was like, there's other ways to do this. And I was like, there's no other way to do this besides just buy a house and I've got to live in it. And so how am I going to rent it out besides rent a room? I was like, I don't want to do that. And then that's when he started saying, well, what about, an ADU? What if I find you a property that's got like a shed or some kind of in-law suite on it and it's got some land, and you talk about you want to do creative things with short-term rentals, you could do all of that. He's like, you could go from 1 to 3, boom, just like that. And I was like, you got a point. And so it was that.
So with you said you're getting into the land game. Like, so where are you looking at for land, and are you trying to build ADUs on them, or what kind? Because you said you want to create an experience. What kind of experience do you want to create?
Well, I don't want to give away all of my little thoughts about what I want to do, but I do like, kind of like what Steve said in my bio. I like unique opportunities to have short-term rentals. So whether we're talking about, throw up some teepees out there, there's some, I forgot what the name of the structures are, but they kind of look like little bubbles. If you've seen something like that online, and then you can kind of like decorate it and kind of put furniture in there. You have to think about heating and cooling and things like that. But I like unique structure. So whether it's just like a normal shed and renovate that and stuff like that. So just different things, who knows?
That's pretty interesting because like I've seen some people rent out things that look like spaceships. Of course, you've seen the tree houses and the like teepees and stuff like that. Yeah, I like that. And you said you're all about giving the guests that experience.
I love the experience. I feel like that's what people want. And then look at it now, we're locked down at home. You want something different other than these 4 walls you keep looking at every day. How fun would it be if you could go into like a firehouse that's been renovated as a short-term rental, and you could utilize, and it still looks like the firehouse, like with the pole, and you can slide down it. I mean, people want something different, and you can eat at the big table where the firemen ate. You have to just think outside the box.
That's cool. So how would you describe your design, your taste for design?
For the most part, my design style, like if I go strictly with what I like, is I would say it's rustic modern. I like rustic stuff. I like modern, but I also like industrial, like like the metals and things of that nature. So it's more modern with a little bit of rustic appeal.
So you got any design tips for us, like how to design a place on the cheap? We're always trying to save some money.
On the cheap? I would say on the cheap, I still need it to be, durable furniture, because you have to think about the fact that there's going to be a lot of people coming in and out of these short-term rentals. So you want to think about commercial furniture, and if nothing else, get a durable metal frame bed. None of this wood, like, the cheap little wood slats and stuff like that. None of that. I feel like there is nothing like that old school metal bed frame that you can go pick up from the mattress store for like $100. Get that but they have newer versions that you can also sell the memory foam mattress on it. Get one of those. I feel like there's nothing like that. I made my first mistake by buying this sexy canopy bed off of Wayfair. It had some thin metal slats to it. Yeah. A couple bumps from a couple guests, and they making things happen in the middle of the night, and that just went away. So I would say, on the cheap, I think about flash sales. Like for Wayfair, I got a lot of my first furniture from my first short-term rental around Thanksgiving times, Black Friday, and those after Christmas sales that they have online from like Wayfair and the nice furniture companies. That's how you can get nice furniture for a deal. But I mean, if you have to, you can finance it. I'm not a financer of my furniture, but I feel like there's nothing wrong with using Facebook Marketplace, Let Go, stuff like that. That's my style.
Now, do you value like speed, how long it takes you to get a place ready over saving money, or is like a balance?
I would say there has to be a balance. I care more about the sexy. I always use that term. I need it to look good. If I would like it decor wise and I want to stay there, then I feel like that's nice. I'm not a fan of slapping something together real quick just to say I'm ready to rent it. I feel like it's worth it to decorate it, to make it nice for me. Even if that takes me an extra week if you want to. But I feel like if you plan it out right and you know that you're closing on like, January 15th on the on the house, then start buying your furniture now and accumulate that wherever you stand, or get you a storage unit from U-Haul. The first month is $1 still, I think is the running promotion. Stick it in the U-Haul and you have furniture just building up, getting it ready, for your rental. I feel like plan it out.
Now, what small design touches do you feel go the farthest, go a long way?
Something simple as having like a coat rack or a shoe rack, like as soon as you enter the door. I feel like it's something a lot of people don't think about, but it's something that can be very helpful. Whether you want people to wear shoes in your place or not, it immediately gives you a place to drop your keys, because usually the coat rack can usually be used for your keys too. Put those keys, put your jacket, boom, boom. When I walk out the door, I'm ready, and got my shoes right there by the door. I like things like that, and a welcome board in view at the front door as soon as you come in. Say the guest name up there. That's really good. I feel like, a warm welcome.
Nice.
I need to take that welcome board tip. That's a good one. Thank you. I'm definitely using that one.
No problem.
So you said and I'm kind of got a question, because you said something that kind of scared me. You said something about those Wayfair beds. They kind of cheap, because we just got a place up in Houston and they use those Wayfair beds. They ain't no good, because do I need to be getting prepared?
I mean, does it have those little wood slats that shift on it, or those metal slats?
They got the metal ones. Those metal canopy beds.
Oh, I hope you didn't get the one I have. Well, I don't know. I have to see it, but I'm just telling you my experience from it. Because I don't know about you. I feel like, people going to do the boom, boom. Like, it. You know it. I'm just being honest with you. We're all adults. They gonna get it in. And I knew when I created that room in my first property, it was a metal canopy bed. I had the curtains drawn on it and all that. So it looked appetizing. So I already knew what I was getting into. But yeah, I tell you, I went in there to turn it over one time, lift up the mattress, and then I noticed that the metal just start bending on it. So I knew what it came from. And what I had to do is I had to buy one of those newer, more sturdy commercial industrial. I bought it from Walmart too. The ones you use now with the memory foam mattress, and it's just the standard ones you see in a lot of short-term rentals now, and they don't attach a headboard to it, just those standard black ones. I put that under that to reinforce it. And so I've never had a problem since.
That's only because I haven't rented it yet.
Don't break my bed, man.
All right. So how does the coaching session work? So I hit you up. Hey, Kenya, can you coach me on getting my first Airbnb up and running? What do I need to do? Be my coach. What do you say?
Well, man, not because of Clubhouse, and I guess all the attention that I get from that, I've actually had to start making like pretty much 15-minute discovery calls now. Before, it used to be just like kind of like hit the ground running, ask you questions, and kind of like go from there. But I have to have a system now, old system, because of all the traffic from Clubhouse, which I'm not complaining about. It's awesome. But now you have to book a discovery call on my calendar, and then we'll talk about your passion and your interest in short-term rentals. I need to vet you and figure out why it is that you're interested in it, and which kind of avenue you want to go. Because you can go rental arbitrage, you can go to property management, co-host, do you want to buy? Do you want to rent? I need to understand that kind of thing, because I need to know what kind of process I need to take you through from A to Z. Because my goal is to get you from zero property, I'm really interested, I don't know where to start, to, man, guess what? I done had 15 guests. That's what I want.
Thanks.
All right, let's say I want to do rental arbitrage and I want to have 10 units in the next 4 months. What do I do?
I will tell you, you're real aggressive on that. But hey, if that's what you want to do, I think you can make it happen. But yeah, I'll just sit down and understand your interest, why particular you are interested in rental arbitrage. I would want to understand that, because I feel like that says a lot about a person if they already come to you and they know the strategy. And a lot of times what I find with that is they've just listening to everybody else and they're saying, oh, my friend said, or such and such does it. So usually most people don't have a true reason why they want to do it, but I would want to understand that. And then I will let you know what you need to do to get started doing that. And I will take you through that process.
Okay, so you don't want to spill no secrets on the Clubhouse, huh?
Like I said, I'm going to take you through the whole process.
Okay. Fair enough. What was I gonna say? Oh, Atlanta. Is it still hot? Still hopping? Is it oversaturated now?
Ooh.
No, some people say that, man. I can't stand when I hear that. It's still opportunity out there. I feel like when it comes to Atlanta, the riches are in the niches. I feel like you just got to find a spot for you. When it comes to the Atlanta market, is it, much more competition than it used to be? Yeah, of course. And is it harder to actually kind of be able to filter those guests in your units in Atlanta? Yeah, I would say yeah. But I feel like it's still possible. And if you're worried about that, then go outside of Atlanta. Do your research on the market and go a little bit outside of town. Go 30, 45 minutes out. I was just looking at a property yesterday, and I'm not gonna lie, I was looking at Ackworth. I could be transparent about that. I was looking at Ackworth. And I was looking at a property, and it's a potential BRRRR for me. That's what it would be. And I didn't make any move on it yet, but I was looking at it. I really like that area. I'm not one to live near the water or participate in like sports activities, but man, I like that area because I was like, this has short-term rental rent all over it. Like they have this area they call the beach. I mean, the body of water is not big enough what I would call a beach, but the locals call it a beach. And I just see so much potential. So, I mean, even looking, and that was that 30 minutes outside of the city, Ackworth. So I feel like it's still possible.
Oh, I'm happy you brought up Atlanta because that's one place that's on my what do I call it, my objective list is probably to hit the ATL market. Do you know it's because okay, in Dallas the 1-bedroom 1-bath market's oversaturated, but you can still kill it on the bigger units. Like if you get a 2-bed or a 3-bed, is that the same way as Atlanta is, or is just everything's oversaturated?
No, I feel like if you get a larger house or apartment, yes, I feel like you would definitely be able to make it. Yeah, as far as the rental arbitrage, yeah, I feel like that's kind of like oversaturated as far as the 1-bedroom apartments go. But I feel like it's still not that much of competition when it comes to a 3 or 4-bedroom house.
Okay, that's good to know. And I know you said you're in Charlotte as well. We've actually had guests on from Charlotte that are killing it. And is Charlotte oversaturated or just still up and coming?
No, not to me. No, I'm not gonna lie. I was really scared when I first started Charlotte. I mean, and maybe that's just my ignorance about it. Cause I was like, what are people coming here for? Like besides the Carolina Panthers. Let me tell you, I am so wrong about that. I find that it was nonstop. Even now, even through COVID, it did not stop in Charlotte. Like, I lied to you not. When it wasn't the Travelers, because, the city of Charlotte was locked down, Roy Cooper was not playing, I actually pivoted and I ended up renting out the individual bedrooms that I had to the local people. And so I guess we could talk about this because I know a lot of people are not fans of renting to the locals. Me, I don't have a problem with the locals. In Charlotte, I feel like you got to know your market though, but in Charlotte, we have a serious affordable housing issue, like serious. And I know I've heard like Chris Senegal talk about this and others, about Houston and stuff, but that's another one of my passions is affordable housing. So I feel like, okay, the Travelers aren't coming and, no one's vacationing. I could always rent out the individual bedrooms in the properties because somebody always needs a place to lay their head. Now, was I having to rent out for a cheaper, technically, by room than I would have wanted to? Yes. So I couldn't rent out for the same rate that I rent out to my Travelers for a bedroom, but that was fine. Because guess what? I found out when I started renting out the bedroom, there was so much demand. I ended up making more money during the month when I rented the individual bedrooms than I did when I rented the whole house. Mm-hmm. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, hold up, we on to something different. And I got really excited. So I feel like there's always opportunities. There's different ways of pivoting. I've met people on Clubhouse that talk about boarding houses and other, long-term care facilities and using your home. So it's got me thinking about a whole different ball game.
I'm happy you brought up that by room rental, because just people who don't know, that is a cash play. I'm going to get my guy Todd Baldwin back on the podcast for part 2. Dude's cash flowing, I think, $12,000 a month off. I think, how many houses, Steve? Like 4 or 5 houses renting by room. Yeah. It works especially well if you're in a very expensive market like Seattle. Man, them room rentals is killers.
Yeah. Yeah, because, let me tell you, there are still plenty of people who just, I just need a place to lay my head. And once again, the fact that my property was already a short-term rental, remember, I've already spent money on the interior design, and it's already sexy looking. So they're like, oh, you mean I get to stay in this bedroom in this nice house? I don't have any furniture, and I get to still utilize the living room, the kitchen, the backyard. I can play in the, I have an area called the lounge. I can chill in the lounge area all for free. Yeah. They were like, yeah. So, and then they didn't care that other people would be in homes with them and, strangers. They didn't care about that. So it was awesome.
Now, you don't have a HOA there telling you you got too many people coming and going.
Kenya does not do HOAs. So yes, I make sure when I buy properties, and if I ever have to eat my words in the future, then call me out. I don't buy condos. I don't buy houses in HOA communities. I just don't do them. I don't like anybody. This is just kind of how I am in general outside of real estate. I don't like nobody telling me what I can and cannot do. I don't like nobody put restrictions on me. So no, I don't like HOAs. No, not at all.
Facts. I've been shut down by them.
Yeah. HOAs suck. Boo HOAs. Really quick, I just want to reset the room. We have some more people coming in. Please save your questions for the end. Any questions you have for Kenya, and just stick around and listen to this great information. Kenya, when it comes to, what was I going to say? Yeah, when it comes to like restrictions, have you ever had any restricting issues when it comes to like the areas you're doing, like not HOAs, but just the city trying to say you can't?
No, I've never encountered that. I know some people do. Now, the closest I think I came and bumping up against something like that is when I decided to kind of test my theory on ADUs. I found out that at least in Mecklenburg County proper, I was limited, from buying, I guess we want to call it a shed. Let's call it a shed that was larger than 10 by 14. Like I wanted a 10 by 20 or 10 by 30 and put it in the backyard. And this is the way I was going to test out the whole idea of what I thought was a solution to affordable housing. And then I was going to buy some land and do it all over again. But yeah, I turned out I was limited to that. And then I've once again learned my land laws, and I found that in the city of Charlotte, anytime you buy a piece of land, there has to be a primary dwelling on it, like a house. You can't just stick a bunch of smaller structures all over the land. So I found that out. That was restrictive. But I did network with some city officials and stuff like that. So I did find that some people were open to alternative measures. But that's about the closest thing I bumped up into as far as restrictions.
So it sounds like, yeah. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Steve. My bad.
Oh, I was gonna go back real quick to the renting room by room, because I've often thought about doing that. What are some tips and pointers you can give us to how to set up each room to make it nice for each person?
Honestly, I didn't do anything different in those bedrooms than the room, the way it was set up for the entire house rental of the entire, on Airbnb and these other sites. I didn't do anything else extra. Only thing I did when it came down to the pandemic is I made sure my housekeeper put a bottle of hand sanitizer and a mask in each room during the turnovers. But other than that, the room still looked the same. As they just didn't have the entire house to themselves. They had to stick to the individual rooms. And some people came with a child. Some people would come with a dog because I'm a pet-friendly person because I have a dog myself. So I found out how hard it is to travel with a dog. and how expensive it can be. So my properties are child friendly and pet friendly. I would then message my guests. Like if I knew I had 5 people already in the house and a new person was coming with a dog and no one else had a dog, I would let the current guests know, hey, there's a new person arriving at this time and they're coming with the dog. Just as an FYI, in case somebody was scared of dogs or or anything like that. I feel like I was always cordial with all my guests, or if somebody arrived with a child, because I feel like you want to be on alert by that kind of thing. If you stand in the house, and when people would message me, prospective people that would want to rent, and I know I've already got 5 people over here, 3 people over here, I would let them know, okay, I currently have 4 guests in that property, and your child's going to be the only child. So are you okay with your guests in a home where there's like 2 other women and a man, just to know? I feel like as a mother, I would want to know that, that I'm going to rent a room in this house and there's 3 other grown adults here that I have to worry about my child around. So out of respect of that, I would do things like that, but I didn't change anything about the setup.
Now I have a question for you. So you were renting my room in the middle of COVID. Did you have any episodes where a COVID breakout might have happened or anything like that? Because I'm gonna tell you, we were considering it. Like we were like, we could do the room rentals, but then that's what held us back.
No, thank God, no. And I warned everybody that, you're going to be sharing a home with other people. And everybody was like, oh, I'm just staying in my room. Like, I'm good. Like, no. So, hey, I felt like, hey, that's on you. You know what's going on.
So
awesome.
what are you?
I'm always so curious when it comes to people's setup horror stories. Do you have any setup horror stories that maybe it's not horror, but anything that happened while getting things ready that kind of threw you off course, or things that were just really stressful?
For the room rentals or just in general?
Just in general.
The most horrific thing that's happened to me in these 3 years that I've been doing this is 2 times someone threw a party in one of my properties. And the last time it was done was August of 2020. And I had 2 females rent the entire house. And she claimed that they were just coming, just me and my homegirl, just to get away from the weekend type of thing. And they were out of state. So this is why I'm not a fan of people saying that they don't rent to the locals, because although they were not local, if you know anything about Charlotte bordered part of South Carolina. So it's easy to just come across the border. They were from South Carolina, and they came to the property. And I have an exterior camera, but in this one property, and because it was my personal home, I have an interior camera as well. Now, it's not allowed on VRBO, but in Airbnb, you can have interior cameras in the common area as long as you list it in your house rules. And it's listed in my house rules, so just so y'all know that, it's listed in the house rules. But the camera faces the front door, and it faces a part of the foyer area in the home. And so, I got the notification that the door was unlocked. So something said, look at the camera. I looked at the camera and I saw the 2 young girls go in, and I was like, okay, that's fine. And for some reason, I just started looking at it a little bit longer. And then I noticed they came and they were lugging large cases of Corona and other beer. And I was like, it's just the 2 of them. What are they doing with all that? And I was like, you know what, Kenya, maybe they're going to a party at somebody else's house. Like, who knows? Whatever, forget it. So I went away, went about my life, and then something said, check the camera, some hours later. I checked the camera. I saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, over 15 people walking in and out the door, going. I was like, what is that? And so the worst case scenario, that's what happened most recently. They threw a party. Long story short, they burnt the deck off the back of the house. They had, throw up and beer scattered across the walls and everywhere. It was a cleaning nightmare. And they hurt my next guest that I had, because I had to check in that same day they checked out. I had to check in that same day. And that housekeeper's been fired because she didn't do a good job cleaning up after that. And she ran her mouth to the next guest and told my next guest that I had a party. And just things that the guests didn't need to know. So that's my worst horror story, and that was most recent.
Wow, what stopped you from stopping the party as you see it progressing, or was it just too late at that point?
I tried, and that was honestly the first time the party happened. I wasn't aware of it. So the previous time someone threw a party, but this time I was like, oh, I'm not having that. I can't have that. I've heard the horror stories. So, of course, I called the local authorities, talked to the police officer. He talked to me on the phone while he's driving to the property. I gave him the rundown of what's happening. He got there. He knocked on the door. I heard him talk to him because I could hear him over the phone talking to him. And he said he warned them, and then he told them that they need to talk to me and tell me that they want to have a party at my property and get my approval if they want to go ahead. But he said he couldn't force them to leave because technically it's a civil matter, and they had a contract with me technically to rent my house for a certain amount of time. So I was stuck, and I'm hundreds of miles away in Atlanta. So there was really nothing physically I could do. She did end up calling me, and she was like, okay, you got me. I want to have a party. What do I do? Like, how much money can I give you to have a party? So she ended up giving me a deposit and paying me an extra fee. But I warned her, if y'all break anything, y'all damage anything, you're going to pay me even more. And she was like, oh, no, we won't. We'll roll up the rugs and, this and that. Yeah. So, yeah, she ended up paying a lot more money after that. So that's how that went.
Wow.
Yeah, it's everybody's biggest fear right now, especially with New Year's, getting the parties going.
Yeah, and she came from VRBO, so it's not just Airbnb guests.
I will say VRBO got more partiers than Airbnb, hands down. Like, I got my whole calendar for this New Year's was packed up by VRBO guests. I was like, man, I hope nobody. I did have a one-night stay. The rest of them was like 3 nights. I'm like, man, I hope this one night but it was cool. It was him and his family, so we got
those one-night people, boy. They have me on pins and needles.
Facts, big facts. Yes, they do.
I got a theory of why a lot of partiers are on VRBO now. Because it's all the ones that got kicked off of Airbnb, so they had to get VRBO accounts.
You're right, and the fact that since August, after this disaster happened to me, Airbnb banned parties and events, and so you're right, they're starting to go to VRBO and these other platforms to have parties. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm happy y'all told me because I've been noticing because when I got into the Houston market, I was like, man, I was telling my guy who managed it, I'm like, man, what's up with all these VRBO inquiries? I had never seen them come in like that. And I'm like, is it the Houston market? And they was like, nah, but my calendar was fully open. You know what I mean? So they just sitting there sniping up dates. So yeah, VRBO, they got some partiers on there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm considering it this year, switching to a strategy and forcing people to book Friday and Saturday. I don't know anybody who's doing that. I know most people are still just letting them book either Friday or either Saturday, but I'm curious to figure out how bad that's going to hurt me, but how well that would kill out the market of people who want to party. Because it's really hard to weed people out. I feel like you could ask them questions, but there's not stopping anybody from lying to you. So I don't know.
I know over here. Go ahead.
What I was gonna say was I do 2-night minimums on weekends. So Friday and Saturday, it's a 2-night minimum. It ain't hurt me at all. But what I will tell you, the way to really kind of get parties and like really kind of notice parties, I noticed they usually book 2 to 3 weeks out, and they book 1 or 2 nights. Because usually it's somebody's birthday, they planning something. That's really what it is. That's why I start noticing it. That's where I've noticed the partiers come in.
Okay, yeah, because typically I just left the weekends that, I haven't forced people to book 2 nights. I'm really considering going that route. Yeah, just to eliminate that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, this has been a great episode so far. What do you think?
What would you give 2 tips to any beginners who want to start doing any type of short-term rental? Like, what are those 2 tips you'd give a beginner?
I would say initially do your research on short-term rentals if that's what you want to do, so that you know the different strategies and you understand the basics of them. So I feel like there's enough material out there, whether you use YouTube University or you buy a book on BiggerPockets or read an article. I feel like you at least need to go when going to talk to somebody, especially if you want a mentor or something like that. You need to know something you're talking about and just not, I want to do it because somebody said it was cool or somebody said I could make a lot of money. At the end of the day, this is a business. I mean, I'm not in this just for the money. I have a lot of passion about this. I care about single mothers. I care about affordable housing. I like real estate in general for like wealth building. I feel like it can't be about the dollar at the end of the day. You're not going to come out here with your first unit and make $50,000 in 1 month. It just don't happen like that. Yeah, so I would say, yeah, have some knowledge as far as like, read a book, have some knowledge about what you want to do, and then have a good plan of at least, when you first start, what's my goal as far as how much money I'm trying to make? Because I feel like when you come talk to somebody like me, that gives me a little bit better understanding of, okay, you want to do this particular strategy and you shooting to make this kind of money. So then I understand how passionate, how serious you are about it. Is this just residual income? You're just looking for a couple $100s, or are you really trying to like get big in the game? So I feel like do your research up front and know how much money you're trying to make.
That was a good episode, Kenya. We're going to definitely open up the floor, but first off, we're going to close it out. We're going to thank you for coming on and being a guest. You dropped some good gems like you always do on Clubhouse. And yeah, definitely thank you for coming on. And tell people where they can find you and where they can find your course.
You can find me as usual on Clubhouse in the different rooms. I'm in various real estate rooms for the most part on Clubhouse, but you can also find me on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, my name is Kenya Teague. So that's Teague, last name, same thing, like basketball league, but with a T. And you can also find me on IG. I'm the short-term boss on both IG and Clubhouse. So you can find me on there, dropping tips. I'm getting better at going live on IG. That hasn't been something that I've been like doing, but I'm starting to warm up to it. Like I said, especially after talking so much on Clubhouse, I'm starting to go live at least once a week on IG, but I definitely drop a lot of tips and helpful hints on there.
Thank you. And that is the end of episode 147. Steve, you taking us out or me?
Great episode. I will take us out a little bit. Did you have anything to drop before you go? Because I'm going to drop something. I'm going to drop a little something.
Oh, yeah. Follow Live Let Thrive on Instagram. Follow us. We're on Twitter, Instagram. Subscribe. If you the YouTuber type, go over to YouTube, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button below for the people that's watching on Zoom. But yeah, that's it. What do you got, Steve?
Great episode. Learned a lot, and I'm learning how to do this Clubhouse thing. So look for us at Clubhouse, I guess.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, go watch us live, and we'll get better at it. It was the first time I was like, whoa, shit, we're doing Clubhouse. So yeah, we get better at it. Yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Live, Let, Thrive. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest in the world of Airbnb and all that entails. Bye-bye.